Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
Awesome. Today, we're tackling momentum.
Oh, interesting.
But not just, like, going fast, you know?
Okay, yeah.
This is about moving forward with purpose, and we're using Sam Silverstein's book, Momentum, as our guide.
I've heard good things about that book.
It's really thought-provoking. Silverstein has this idea that momentum is actually a skill.
A skill, huh?
Not just speed, but something you can develop.
Like that.
Yeah. So Silverstein kicks off the book with this story about his daughter, Allison.
Yeah.
She's a pediatrician, and they were on a family trip in Switzerland. They come across this motorcycle accident on a, really winding mountain road, pretty scary.
Oh, wow.
And Allison, without even thinking, jumps out of the car to help the injured motorcyclists.
That's amazing.
Right. Silverstein uses this to illustrate his definition of momentum. He says, momentum is the continuous pursuit of what we have to do in service to others.
So it's action-oriented, but with this, outward focus.
Exactly. It's not just about achieving your own goals, but about how your actions can benefit others.
I see. That's a really interesting perspective. It kind of reminds me of that whole we, not me mindset.
You're totally right. That's a huge part of Silverstein's philosophy. He says that when we frame our goals in terms of how they benefit others, it makes them more significant, more motivating.
It's like it gives them more weight,
Totally. It's not just about me, but about how I can contribute to something bigger than myself.
Right. And that shift in perspective can be so powerful. It makes you think, how often do we get caught up in our own little bubbles and forget about the impact we can have on others?
Seriously.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make that shift? How do we move from me to we in our own lives?
Well, Silverstein has a sort of formula for that.
A formula for momentum.
Yeah, he calls it the momentum equation.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It goes like this. Momentum equals significance times action times consistency minus resistance.
Wow, that's quite an equation.
Yeah, but it makes sense when you think about it. It's not enough to just have a significant goal. You have to act on it consistently while also overcoming those obstacles that inevitably pop up.
It's like all these different elements working together.
Exactly. And you can't ignore any of them. If you're not clear on the significance, you're less likely to take action. If you don't act consistently, you won't build momentum. And if you let resistance win, you'll get stuck.
That's a great point. So before we even start thinking about action, we need to figure out what's truly significant to us, right?
Absolutely. Silverstein says it all starts with defining our purpose, mission, and values.
So what we're here to do and how we want to do it.
Exactly. Think of it as creating a roadmap for your life. Without a clear destination, it's easy to get lost along the way.
Makes sense. But how do you actually figure out your purpose? It seems kind of big and abstract.
Yeah, I get that. But Silverstein believes our purpose often reveals itself through those moments when we experience joy in helping others.
Oh, interesting. So it's not like we have to have some grand plan from the start.
Not necessarily. It's more about paying attention to those times when we feel truly fulfilled by making a difference.
I like that. It takes the pressure off. I get so much joy out of volunteering at the local animal shelter.
There you go. What does that tell you about your potential purpose?
Maybe it's about advocating for animal welfare or creating a more compassionate world.
See? It's about reflecting on those experiences and seeing what they reveal about your passions.
So let's say we have a sense of our purpose. How do we turn that into a mission?
Silverstein has a framework for that too. He calls it your personal mission narrative.
Okay, a narrative sounds a bit less intimidating than a mission statement.
Right. It's about being action-oriented, clearly stating what you do to fulfill your purpose. He uses 3 verbs to get us started: teach, inspire, and support.
Those are pretty broad, though. How do you make them specific to your own mission?
That's the beauty of it. You can adapt them to fit any purpose. Say your purpose is promoting environmental sustainability, right? Your mission narrative might involve teaching people about eco-friendly practices, inspiring them to reduce their carbon footprint, and supporting initiatives that protect our planet.
So it's about finding your own 3 words that capture the essence of what you do.
Exactly. It makes your purpose tangible, actionable.
I love that. But what about our values? Where do those fit into all of this?
Values are crucial. They are our compass, our non-negotiables. They guide our decisions and actions.
So honesty, integrity, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Silverstein suggests looking to our personal heroes for clues. Who do we admire and what qualities stand out to us? Then we can categorize those values. Are they foundational to who we are, relational, professional, or community-focused?
So it's like creating a set of guiding principles for our lives.
Precisely. Silverstein talks about a woman named Jenny Nguyen who opened a bar called the Sports Bra dedicated to women's sports.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that place.
She was driven by her values of inclusivity and empowerment.
That's amazing.
Right. It shows how values can fuel innovation and create positive change.
Okay, so we've got our purpose, mission, and values. We're ready to roll, right?
Well, almost. Life has a way of throwing curveballs.
True. It's not always smooth sailing. What about distractions, setbacks, those moments when we just feel stuck?
Silverstein calls that resistance, and he has some great tools for dealing with it. He calls it the SNAP framework.
SNAP framework. It sounds kind of catchy.
Right. It's easy to remember.
So fill me in. What's SNAP all about?
Well, SNAP stands for significant, necessary, achievable, and priority.
Okay, I see where the SNAP comes from.
Silverstein suggests using these 4 categories as a filter when you're making decisions about, well, pretty much anything.
Like what kinds of things?
Whether to take on a new project, how to spend your time, even just like what to focus on in the next hour.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a tool for prioritizing and making sure you're spending your energy on the right things.
Exactly. Not everything can be significant, necessary, achievable, and a priority all at the same time.
That's true. Some things are just gotta-dos, like paying bills or answering emails.
Exactly. Those are necessary, but maybe not so significant in the grand scheme of things.
I see. But what about those like big dreams, the ones that seem kind of impossible right now?
That's where the significant category comes in. Even if it doesn't seem achievable at this moment, if it truly aligns with your purpose and values, it's worth keeping on your radar.
So don't dismiss those big dreams just because they feel overwhelming.
Right. And who knows, maybe by focusing on those necessary and priority tasks first, you'll clear the way to tackle those bigger goals later on.
This is making a lot of sense. It's like a roadmap for making decisions, big and small.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time and energy.
I love that. But how do you know if something's a true yes? Like, how do you decide if it's worth committing to?
Well, Silverstein has this fun little technique he calls the snap your fingers test.
Wait, what? Snap your fingers?
I know, it sounds kind of strange, but bear with me.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, when you're considering something, anything, he says to literally snap your fingers. If you hesitate, even for a split second, it's probably not a true yes for you.
That's fascinating. It's like a way to check in with your intuition, your gut feeling.
Exactly. It's a simple but powerful way to make sure you're not just saying yes out of obligation or fear of missing out.
I love that. So we've got this SNAP filter, this gut check, but even then, life still happens, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are always going to be challenges and roadblocks.
What about those times when self-doubt creeps in or we get distracted or just feel impatient?
Silverstein calls all that resistance, and he doesn't shy away from it.
So it's like that inner voice that tells us we're not good enough or that we should just give up.
Yeah, we all have that voice to some degree. But Silverstein offers strategies for dealing with it.
Like what?
Well, for those limiting beliefs, those negative thoughts, he recommends building a support system.
So surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and encourage you.
Exactly. He calls it an accountability circle. But it's really just about having people in your corner who will challenge you and lift you up.
I can definitely see the value in that. It's so much easier to stay motivated when you have people cheering you on.
Right. It's like having a personal cheering squad.
I love that. But what about overcommitting? I have a bad habit of saying yes to too many things and then feeling overwhelmed.
That's something a lot of people struggle with. Silverstein's advice is to be mindful of your yeses, remembering that each yes implies a no to something else.
That's a good point. So it's not about saying yes to everything. It's about being selective and making sure your commitments align with your goals.
Precisely. It's about setting boundaries and protecting your time and energy for the things that truly matter.
Okay, boundaries, got it. But what about distractions? They're everywhere these days.
They are. Silverstein has an interesting perspective on distractions. He suggests scheduling them strategically.
Scheduling distractions.
Yeah. It's like turning them into rewards rather than constant interruptions.
So instead of letting my phone rule my life, I decide when I'm going to engage with it.
Exactly. You're in control, not the other way around. Maybe you schedule 30 minutes in the afternoon for social media or decide to only check email twice a day, whatever works for you.
It's like reclaiming your attention.
Precisely. And that can be so freeing.
Totally. Speaking of things that can be freeing, what about impatience? I'm so guilty of wanting results right away.
Impatience, the enemy of momentum.
So true. But how do you deal with it?
Silverstein reminds us that meaningful change takes time. He suggests focusing on enjoying the process, breaking down big goals into smaller milestones, and celebrating those small wins along the way.
So it's about shifting your focus from the destination to the journey.
Exactly. And that ties into another key point. Momentum isn't a one-time achievement.
Meaning?
It's an ongoing process, a way of life, a commitment to continuously aligning your actions with your purpose, mission, and values.
So it's not like you suddenly have momentum. It's more like a dance, a constant flow of moving forward.
Beautifully put. It's about embracing the ebb and flow of life, knowing that there will be challenges and setbacks, but always striving to move in the right direction.
This is all so inspiring. But what about maintaining that momentum over the long haul? How do you keep that fire burning day after day, year after year?
That's a great question, and one that Silverstein addresses head-on. He reminds us that even in the pursuit of our grandest goals, it's crucial to pause, reflect, and appreciate how far we've come.
Yeah, it's like you climb to the top of a mountain and take a minute to enjoy the view.
Exactly. It's so important to acknowledge the effort and celebrate the progress.
Totally. Otherwise, you just keep pushing and pushing without ever really appreciating how far you've come.
Right, and that appreciation, that sense of gratitude, can actually fuel your momentum even more.
It's like recharging your batteries, giving yourself the energy to keep going.
Exactly. And it helps you stay connected to your purpose, why you're doing all of this in the first place.
I love that. It's not selfish to celebrate your wins. It's essential for staying motivated.
Absolutely. It's like Silverstein's twist on his dad's advice. Life is an adventure. Go live the adventure.
I remember that from the book.
Yeah. So he says, yes, go live it. But part of that adventure is knowing when to pause.
To catch your breath and take stock of things.
Exactly.
Wow, this deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of momentum.
Me too. It's really shifted my perspective.
So as we wrap things up, what are some of the key takeaways that stand out to you?
Well, for me, it's the reminder that momentum isn't about speed or rushing towards a finish line.
It's about something bigger than that.
Right. It's about aligning your actions with what truly matters to you.
Your purpose, mission, and values.
Exactly. And then making conscious choices every day to move in that direction.
And it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress step by step.
Absolutely. Progress over perfection. That takes the pressure off.
Totally. And I love that SNIP framework. It's such a practical tool.
So helpful for decision making.
Right. Is it significant, necessary, achievable, a priority?
Such good questions to ask yourself.
And the snap your fingers test. I can't wait to try that one out.
It's a fun way to check in with your gut.
Totally. And don't forget the power of a support system.
Oh, yeah. Having those people in your corner makes all the difference.
They can celebrate your wins, offer encouragement when you need it, and hold you accountable.
And remind you why you started in the first place.
Exactly. And last but not least, remember to take care of yourself.
Right. Give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, to recharge.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. And that's how you keep the momentum going over the long haul.
Silverstein ends the book with a really provocative question. What if it was easy?
What if building momentum was actually easy?
It makes you think, doesn't it?
What could we achieve if we approached our goals with a sense of ease and confidence?
Wow, it's so inspiring. So as you continue your own exploration of momentum, remember that it's a skill anyone can develop.
Yeah, you don't have to be a superhero to make it happen.
It's about aligning your actions with what truly matters and doing it consistently.
And enjoying the journey along the way.
What if it was easy? What amazing things would you achieve? Keep that question in mind as you move forward.
Until next time, keep the momentum going.